Being a music producer is an amazingly rewarding career, whether that's creatively, emotionally, financially. Okay, maybe not financially at the beginning, but this video will help you make more money as a music producer by picking up some side hustles that will really help you make extra coin. So whether you're just starting out or a couple $100 would be enough to launch you into full-time, or you're an established producer who's just looking to make a little more scratch, these are some side hustles that music producers can pick up to make extra money. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna be telling you the ones that I personally used to sometimes make up to $500 or even $1,000 a day. So let's kick it off with number one, which is live sound mixing. If you live anywhere with bars, clubs, or any kind of venue, they're going to be looking for talented and dependable people who are able to mix live sound. If you're someone who's good at troubleshooting and loves mixing, then this is the job for you, but it has a couple benefits as a producer. For one, you're always gonna be surrounded by active bands and artists who are performing around town. So if you crush that mix, you can slip them a card and say, hey, I'd love to mix you again, but I also do production in the studio. And number two is that you might get the chance to tour, which is an amazing way to travel, see more of the world, and work on amazing music. If you do end up picking up live sound gigs, make sure that you do wear hearing protection once you've dialed in the mix, or use headphones, because at the end of the day, we want to protect our hearing because we are producers first. And next up is something very similar to live sound, and that is corporate AV. I live in Orlando, Florida, and there is no shortage of corporate AV jobs around here. But all over the country, there are conventions and events that are going to need sound. So if you want to pick up work as a PA or an A2, then you can totally make extra money doing this. And a huge benefit is that you'll probably be contracted event to event, so you'll have lots of time in between events to work on producing. Now, the last outside the studio hustle that I want to go over, which is probably also the most consistent, is picking up work in a music store. The number one benefit of this is that you'll get that sweet, sweet employee discount. I know so many people who have stocked up their studio at an amazing price because they have worked at a music store while they're building their studio. You can get so much great gear for so much cheaper if you have that employee discount. And if there's no music store around you, another good option is a screen printing place, because you will always be meeting bands who need merch. Another plus to places like this is that they're used to band members working there, and they're gonna need time to go out on tour. And in the same vein, if you book a really big production client, you can take time off from that job to focus on the recording. So now we'll switch gears to the in-studio stuff, which is really the fun stuff to me. And first up in that category is gonna be working on music for TV, for movies and commercials, also known as sync music. Not sync like the kitchen sink, but SYNC. Unlike the others, sync music is not immediate cash because it's going to take you time to build up a library of songs to get placed. However, once you start getting placements, you're going to be getting recurring checks every quarter. I started really focusing on sync in 2020, and I've had songs in Netflix shows, Hulu shows, radio commercials, all kinds of places, and every quarter I get a check for those songs. I have a much longer video coming on this exact topic, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to see that when it comes out. Now, I also asked my Instagram followers if they had any producer side hustles that they've been doing, and these next two are from those. First up, my friend Damian Thompson said that he's been teaching production workshops at a local arts facility. He started giving drum lessons, and then eventually some of the kids asked if they could take production lessons instead, and he's been doing workshops for them ever since. This is awesome because he's inspiring that next generation of kids to come up as producers. And the second one I got from my Instagram is from Kat Ridgway, who said voiceover work. If you're doing voiceover work, you can either record the voice talent or you can be the recordist and the voice talent. This one is great because if you're a producer, you already have all the gear that you need. And similar to voiceover work is podcast recording and editing. With the current media landscape, pretty much every business has a podcast to promote their service or their product, and you can either record them in person or just do the editing remotely. And the nice thing about this is podcasts are episodic, so you're gonna have recurring work every week or every month. Now, these next two are the big money ones that I talked about earlier, and the first one is running a rehearsal space. When I had a commercial studio, rehearsals were actually a big part of our business model. On a normal month, we were able to bring in anywhere between $400 and $800 a month, and in months where bigger bands would come and rehearse for their tours, we would charge $500 a day. This extra money really gave us the ability to run a big commercial facility, so if that's something that you want to start doing, Having rehearsals booked at your studio is an amazing way to fill in those extra days. One way that we helped keep this recurring was by offering a subscription model for bands. So if they wanted to have a weekly rehearsal, we would charge them $200 a month for a couple-hour rehearsal every Monday. This was a great way to generate $200 every single month without really having to do anything. And last but not least, and this is the one that has netted me the most money for a single day in my recording career, is recording choirs and orchestras. Now, you will need a mobile setup to be able to record them in their space because you're usually going out to a chamber or a hall, some kind of place where they perform. But the biggest recording day I ever had was an orchestra that paid me $1,000 to record their concert. Ironically, even though they have a huge budget, you're typically only using like 4 or 5 mics to basically just get a nice stereo recording of the room. The mix and edit is also dead simple because they really want to capture the sound of that room that they're playing. However, you will need pairs of the same microphones so that the left and right side of the room are recorded the exact same way. But all in all, this is definitely my favorite side hustle for music producers, and it is something that is seriously overlooked. Now, I've just scratched the surface of side hustles for music producers, so please leave a comment with what you are doing to make extra cash on the side, whether it's video game sound design, ADR for film, cover gigs, audio equipment repair, whatever it is. I want to know how you're making extra cash as a producer, so maybe I can make a part 2 of this video. But now that you're making all this extra cash, I want to help you make sure that you're not wasting it on overpriced equipment. So check out this video right here.